Hey everybody, so sweeping new changes again today in the ongoing trade war, tariff war with the United States and China and other countries. This specifically today has to do with what is called the de minimis exemption and how it's being removed. All right, on this video, I'm gonna tell you about that. You might hear those words floating around on the news and in social media. It's very important as an e-commerce seller, as a brand owner, that you understand what this is, how it may or may not apply to you. Okay, so let's get right into the topic. I'm gonna take a look at an email that we got from TikTok Shop, okay? They're sending this to all of their sellers. Basically, they're saying, hello, TikTok Shop sellers. We wanna ensure that you're informed of the changes to the de minimis exemption for goods originating from certain countries. First, what is the de minimis exemption, okay? It is currently an exemption that exempts shipments that are $800 or less, all right, coming in from other countries. It exempts them from tariffs, okay? Now, what is changing is that the US government announced plans to remove de minimis treatment for products, but only from China, including Hong Kong, effective May the 2nd. All right, now this is why it's a big deal. If you don't understand de minimis, you definitely want to know what that is. You'll see it all over the news. You'll see it in your social media feeds and things like that. As an e-commerce brand owner, you want to know how that impacts you, okay? Basically, for decades, for a long time, China, other countries have been able to skirt around tariffs and duties by shipping things into the United States and declaring the value of those things under $800. So right at $800 or under. And then they just come in and they go right through customs and things like that without having to pay duties. And it's been abused for years, and brand owners and e-commerce sellers have been complaining about it for years because we don't have that luxury when we do that, right? When we have to pay our own duties and tariffs on stuff that we import from China, yet China, Hong Kong, they're shipping these things into the country without having that responsibility at all. So you may remember that this change actually was thrown out there back in February of 2025, and everyone in e-commerce world celebrated. I made a video about it here on the YouTube channel, and in about 48 hours, it was flipped back around again, because what they found out was that the United States government and our customs and duties, people, we just didn't have the infrastructure, the staff, the personnel to actually audit and assess duties on the hundreds of thousands of packages that were coming in from China, from Hong Kong, that all of a sudden needed to be, assessed duties on and validated with invoices and so forth. All right, so they paused that, and now they're saying they're going to come back on May the 2nd and begin it again. So they've come back and said they feel like that, the infrastructure is in place so that they can go ahead and start doing that. All right, this is how, a lot of the Chinese dropship type marketplaces have really thrived. You think about AliExpress, which is part of Alibaba, Temu, Shein, and then even TikTok Shop, for example, okay? Able to just ship that stuff over here pretty quickly without any duties or tariffs. So apparently, maybe that's gonna change. Now, in this email that we look at from TikTok Shop, it's really nice because they're linking on a few things here, and they're helping to describe what de minimis exemption is, and they're also showing you the official executive order from President Trump in the White House that actually detailed all this out. So we'll take a quick look at that. So now we're on the Custom and Border Patrol website. This was linked directly from within the TikTok Shop email. And it describes what's called Section 321 of the US Code. Section 321 is where it has the statute that describes what de minimis and de minimis exemption is. And you can see here on the screen, it provides admission of articles free of duty and of any tax imposed or by any reason of importation, and a lot of fancy legal words. The duty shall not exceed $800. The threshold was previously $200, but it increased with the passage of the Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act a while back. So that's where we actually learn a little bit about what that is. And then we come over here to this executive order here dated April 2nd, 2025 by President Trump. And a lot of this is being tied into some of I'll use the word rhetoric. I don't know that that's the correct word, but rhetoric about what some of these tariffs and the trade wars do, and it has a lot to do with, arguments about opioid supplies and opioids and fentanyl and things like that coming into our country as a result of these other countries. I don't get into that stuff here on the channel. It is a very, very serious issue for sure. But anyway, you can see the, the executive order here. And we won't read that here on the channel, but I will link to it so that you can read it for yourself. But it goes into the whole thing of all this kind of stuff and how they're going about doing that. So what you want to know here, what's important to you, is to see how this is evolving and how it may be affecting you and changing what you're doing. Is mostly going to affect Chinese sellers on TikTok Shop, Temu, Shein, things like that. It'll affect those because now someone's going to be responsible to pay those duties on those little gadgets that you order off TikTok Shop or Temu or something like that that shipped from China. In the past, there was no duty. There was no duty collection or tax involved in that if it was at or below $800. Well, after May the 2nd, assuming that this executive order stands, I say that because there's been a lot of waffling back and forth. Assuming that it stands, that's going to change that game. They will be making things a little more expensive because someone has to cover those duties. All right. Now, if you're running a Shopify store, you're running something like that, even selling on Amazon and drop shipping from China, this will also impact you, okay? Because the end user, somewhere there's going to be duty paid on these items. All right. So if that's your business model, you want to pay really, really special attention to that. Now, if you are in a business model in your e-commerce store, whether it be on Amazon, Walmart, Shopify, TikTok Shop, any of these platforms, and you are competing directly against Chinese sellers who are doing the same thing, and they are shipping directly from China or Hong Kong specifically, this is actually good news to you. I would say it levels the playing field just a little bit, but honestly, I don't know that it's going to make that big of a difference, but it could bring more revenue into the coffers. We will see. Quick, short video today just to tell you about that. If you're struggling with how to do this and you don't understand what these tariffs mean, let's say you feel like you're doing everything right, but you don't understand the tariffs, you don't understand all these other things that are going on, and you need someone to help, then we would be happy to help. Just see the first link in this video's description. You can click over to ecomcatalyst.com and you can request a consultation. We'll be happy to walk you through it anytime. Also, before you leave, I'd love for you to watch the video that we have about the tariffs and how we think you should respond. There's 4 ways that I think you could respond as a seller to all this stuff going on with the tariffs. I really appreciate you watching. Would be grateful for you to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll see you again soon.